Hey everybody, this is Rich and you're with Beekeeping with Rich. Today I want to talk about something very mundane and very boring but very important. And that topic is rubber bands. So a couple of years ago I wrote an article for our local newsletter, our Bee Club newsletter, on rubber bands because I wanted to know what the best rubber bands were for beekeeping. And the upshot of it was that most people use number 64s and number 33s. They are both 3.5-inch rubber bands. The one is 1/4 of an inch, the other is 1/8 of an inch. And you can pretty much do everything you need to do with these two sizes. And I ordered a bag of each size. Now, you'll see if you go on Amazon that prices vary all over the place for a pound of rubber bands. You can pay $4 for a pound, or you can pay $8 for a pound, or $12 for a pound. Uh, and it must have to do with the quality of the rubber. But of course, in the descriptions that the companies write, they all talk like their rubber bands are the best out there. I think you can see that that's not necessarily the case. I want this morning, well, first I'll just show you that for medium frames, you don't really need the 1/8 inch. They don't have enough tension on them. For a deep frame, the 1/8 inch has plenty of tension on it, but is comfortable and easy to use. The 1/4 inch wide is absolutely perfect for using with for the medium frames, and they're very strong and still very good for the deep frames. So you don't have to worry about that. Number 64s, number 33s. But what I learned the hard way is that you get what you pay for. This box of Universal, or this bag of Universal number 64s, has been stored right next to this bag of number 33s from Advantage this whole time. They've been stored outside in whatever the relative humidity is, but out of sun, inside a box. And after about a year or so, these just started degrading all over the place. A few of them, as you can see, still work, but you never know for how long or how many times. And this spring, they have really degraded very fast. I mean, forget about it. Whereas these, with the two bags touching this whole time, are all still just fine. So yesterday afternoon, I went ahead and ordered a pound of Advantage rubber bands. Now, there may be styles out there that are 10 times better than this. Please, if you know of a really good, really long lasting, because buying a small bag of rubber bands is great in terms of economics. Not really. A 1/4 pound bag of any of these cost half of what a 1 pound bag does. And when you're buying smaller amounts, but the thing is, when you're beekeeping, you need to have rubber bands, and you need to have lots of rubber bands. We were doing a bee club thing this last Saturday, or Sunday rather, and I needed to tighten up my sleeves. And I just started patting myself down and found a pocket of my bee jacket that had rubber bands in it, and rubber banded my sleeves. And somebody else laughed and said, yeah, I just did the same thing. It's like, if you're a beekeeper, you always have rubber bands in the pocket of your bee jacket. Very true statement. But obviously these, you can't put your faith in. Apparently the Advantage is made with a much better quality rubber or latex or whatever they're using. And so that's really what this is about. And the other thing is, you might say, well, you can keep them in the refrigerator. Okay, well, when you figure what the price of these huge rubber bands is, the day I get them, these are used for doing nukes and things like that. The day I get them, I put them in the refrigerator. in a back fridge. Well, I went this morning and look what I found. I grabbed the first one I grabbed, I did a stretch on it, and it snapped. And these have been kept in the refrigerator since the day I got them. And these we got at the trip to Man Lake, so that'll be going on 2 years. It's been about 2 years since we did that visit to Man Lake.
Visit to Man Lake was over Thanksgiving, September of 2020.
September 2020. So just under 2 years at this point. And you know, one of them's still fine, even though I do see a little seam line right there. And that's probably where they're failing, is where their mold line is. But these have been in the refrigerator, unless they're actually in use. And when they're done being used, they go right back in the refrigerator. And that doesn't seem to have much effect. It's all going to be about quality, and apparently you get what you pay for, which I didn't know when I wrote the article 2 years ago. I had just done a whole bunch of research on what size rubber bands most people use. So if you're a medium beekeeper, all you really need is 1/4 inch, 3.5 inch rubber bands, and that is a number 64, as you can see right here on the bag, number 64. If you're doing deeps, you can use the number 64s, but if you're wearing gloves and you're trying to do a cutout, you probably want to have some number 33s with you, because they're just easier to manipulate, because there's not quite so much tension on them, but there's still plenty of strength there. And that is the extent of this video. It's a very mundane topic, but it's one that you need to know as a beekeeper. You need to know which rubber bands to get, and not just take the luck of the draw. I'd go with Advantage, unless you have found one that's longer lasting than Advantage, because like I say, I bought these 2 bags the same day. I ordered them the same day, I should say. Now, were these 5 years older in the bag wherever I got them from? I don't know. It may be that these will look like these in another year or so. Who knows? But as far as I can tell, the Advantage brand number 64s are the best way to go for a medium beekeeper or a deep. And the 33s are definitely good, particularly if you're doing the deeps. You don't stretch out so much with the 64s on a medium that they're a manipulation problem. Whereas it could be, a little awkward with gloves on and trying to wrestle with a piece of comb when you're doing it on these. Why does a strictly medium beekeeper foundationless have this? Well, it's actually for demonstration purposes. It's the only reason I own that one frame. So at any rate, this is Rich. This is Beekeeping with Rich. I know this is a boring topic, but it's an important one. So like and subscribe. Have a great day, everybody.